Imagine you have a loved one who is unable to communicate their medical wishes. Doctors turn to you and ask, "What should we do next?" The problem is you're not sure. Do you choose based on what you think is best, or do you try to guess what they would have chosen? This is the ethical dilemma of substitute decision making, or SDM, when someone else has to make medical choices on behalf of a patient who cannot express their own wishes. Welcome to our video, Bite-Sized Bioethics, where we will explore the challenges of balancing patient autonomy, family input, and medical ethics in these difficult situations, with a special appearance from Dr. Janos Pataki. Dr. Pataki completed his MD at the University of Toronto and is about to start his master's degree in bioethics at U of T's Dalla Lana School of Public Health. SDM comes into play when a patient is unconscious, mentally incapacitated, or otherwise unable to make medical decisions. In these cases, a legally designated substitute steps in. Being an SDM is like trying to complete a puzzle with missing pieces. You may have some clues, like things the person said in the past, their values, or their general outlook on life, but you're still left guessing about the final picture. The more pieces you have, the clearer the decision becomes. But without enough information, you're forced to make tough choices based on what you think fits best. To better understand the ethics behind these decisions, we can look at the 4 principles of medical ethics. 1. Autonomy, respecting a patient's right to make their own decisions. 2. Beneficence, acting in the patient's best interest. 3. Non-maleficence, avoiding harm. And 4. Justice, making fair and ethical choices. An SDM holds immense responsibility, influenced by emotions, personal beliefs, or external pressure. Lucky for you, Dr. Janos Pataki is here to clear up any confusion about SDMs.
In Ontario, SDM refers to the legal framework under which decisions are made on behalf of individuals who are mentally incapable of making certain decisions for themselves. This process is governed by the Healthcare Consent Act of 1996 and the Substitute Decisions Act of 1992. These acts aim to protect individuals' best interests and ensure informed consent for healthcare, personal care, and other management decisions. Why is it important? By having a substitute decision maker in place, the law ensures that an individual's values, wishes, and best interests are respected when they can no longer make decisions for themselves due to illness, injury, or incapacity. It provides a legal and ethical framework to manage critical areas like medical treatment, finances, and living arrangements.
We asked Dr. Pataki some key questions related to SDM. How do you navigate situations where the SDM's decisions seem to be influenced by personal interest rather than the patient's wishes?
In most things in the ICU, good communication is key. In a case like this, we would sit down with the SDM, likely on multiple occasions, to make sure that they understand their rights and responsibilities and duties under the relevant acts, set in a plain language that they're most comfortable with. And usually we come to an agreement where the substitute decision maker realizes what they need to do. However, if there's an ongoing disagreement and the substitute decision maker insists on acting in a way that we know is not what the patient would want, there are legal avenues through the Public Guardian and Trustee's Office and the Consent and Capacity Board to make sure that the patient's wishes are honored fully.
What role does the Ethics Committee play in conflicts involving SDMs?
The Ethics Committee is there to ask questions, provide education, and provide support both to the SDM and to the team when we're going through this journey of figuring out next steps for your loved one. What the Ethics Committee doesn't do is give decisions. They're not there to sort things out. They're there to help us sort things out, help the SDM understand what's going on, help the team understand what's going on, and allow the SDM to come to the best decision for the needs of their loved one.
How do you address cases where there is no clear SDM available?
Existing legislation explicitly provides for this, so the team always has a substitute decision maker available. We can go through the list of substitute decision makers as described in law, and we will be able to find someone. If there is no living relative, nobody willing to step up, nobody available, then the Public Guardian and Trustee's Office is available 24/7 to help us make decisions.
What are the biggest challenges when working with SDMs?
The biggest challenges when working with substitute decision makers usually center around language, time, and communication styles. language, sometimes literally we just speak different languages. And then we need professional translators, not family members who may be unconsciously biased in favor of one or other mode of thinking. Time, because there's a lot of information to be covered, a lot of values to be explored, and a lot of facts to be explained and elicited, and yet we may not have a lot of time when someone is very, very ill. And communication styles, this can be a very culturally sensitive and culturally driven issue. In some cultures, directly speaking about facts right in your face may be seen as rude and may not be appreciated and may cause people to shut down. Other times people want us to be direct and not be circumspect. So again, this is part of the communication in exploring what would work for both sides, so we can come to a decision that would help their loved one, the patient, the most.
What advice would you give to someone who might become an SDM for a loved one in the future?
I would think that there's a very high likelihood that you will become a substitute decision maker sometime in the future. And this takes most people by surprise, and yet it's very likely to happen to you. The best advice I can have is talk to your loved ones about what's important to them. What are certain things that they absolutely would or would not want to have? What are limitations that they're willing to accept, and what are limitations that they're not willing to accept? What's important for them in life? What are their values and wishes in the big picture? Don't focus on the specifics. Do I want intubation or not? That's not necessarily helpful. Talk about quality of life and what they're willing to accept for the long run.
Can generative AI help with SDM decisions?
Generative AI may help with coming up with questions. However, in terms of making decisions, large language models are the bland average of what everyone thinks and has written about online. You are a unique individual. You really need to think about what's important to you, what matters, what you want your life to be, and what you don't want your life to be. And the only way to get this out is to think about it, reflect, discuss it, and let your family know, let your loved ones know what you're thinking, so that when you can't talk for yourself, they will be able to talk for you.
What is one thing everyone should know?
Everyone in Ontario has a substitute decision maker assigned by law, even if they have not formally appointed one through a power of attorney document. The law establishes a hierarchy of SDMs, starting with a court-appointed attorney through various family members and a public guardian and trustee if no one else can be found. As an SDM, you are speaking for and representing the needs, wants, values, and wishes of your loved one and not your own.
At the heart of SDM is an ethical balancing act between respecting patient autonomy, making medically sound choices, and supporting loved ones in times of crisis. The best way to avoid painful ethical dilemmas? Plan ahead. Have conversations with your loved ones about your medical wishes before a crisis happens, because when the time comes, those conversations can make all the difference.